I got a 2012 Jeep Liberty. The AC is not working. Strangely, something so new can have such a crappy AC. Strange, but the lady bought it pre-owned, and this and the brake pads that are worn slap out in the rear is my objective to complete today. I do have a new AC compressor. I think I got another new one off the entire net. I've got to get the name for you in a little bit. I can't remember everything, but simply put, looking at the data on this vehicle, it had 38 psi of pressure in there, which should have been enough to activate the compressor. Once I pushed the button to request the AC to operate, I would not get any variance or increasing pressure through the pressure transducer that this car has here for the AC. So logic will have you, if you have the request, you have the adequate amount of pressure to activate the compressor, you have the relay activation, then likely the odds are extremely high that the compressor circuit in the clutch here is defective. So if the clutch doesn't work, and I tried to try pushing in with the broom, like a wood handle, no avail. So I do have powers and grounds going to my compressor when it is activated. So simply put, it needs an AC compressor, and it should be working fine. The AC compressor, from what I understand, hasn't been working since you had the car, which is understandable if it had low pressure. I'm hoping if it does have a leak, that this compressor is the fault of that leak also. So I will put UV dye in here once I get it replaced, and maybe get this wire loom repaired too while I'm under here, because it looks brittle and broken up to pieces. So this shouldn't take long. I think the labor time was like 1.2 hours or 1.8, somewhere around about it, close to 2 hours. And I think that's including with vacuuming the system and evacuating. So let's get to it. So simply put, all I'm gonna do is remove the air duct here. I'll get a little bit more room to remove the compressor because the refrigerant line's been in the way. And I'll simply remove the drive belt here. There's a tensioner down at the bottom. And that, of course, is all after evacuating the system. Simply take 3 bolts. There's one here, and some on the other side, or 2 on the other side, and extract the compressor. Should just be that simple. That was a 15 millimeter to take the tensioner loose. It's a 1/2-inch drive here to get the refrigerant side, and I know I got drained all of it out. So to remove the suction side and the liquid side, 13. Gotta have to switch it around. We're looking at a 13 here. And 2 15s, should be one here, and then on the opposite side there. I'm trying to take my driver and go through it. See what happens. Yep. That's 2. And he'll be 3. It's a small one. This will be 3. And I should get a pry up on it. Got a brand new UAC brand compressor from Rock Auto. Now, unlike the other one, this one I could spin. I couldn't do it with the other one. It was locked up. So that answers the question of why it didn't work, and it probably damaged the clutch versus tearing the belt up. So that's weird. I would imagine if the compressor locks up, then it'll damage the belt, but I'm pretty sure they break in large amount of ways. So I'm gonna leave this in here. So I can remember where everything goes. Now, just like the last video, these compressors new come with oil, so we don't have to worry about oiling. But you want to follow the directions. I got that going the wrong spot. This other boat with some oil, cause man, they didn't want to comply when coming out last time. But that was the old compressor. Got a new one now. Now again, these compressors do come with oil. It tells you here on the sticker. This compressor contains 4.4 ounces of PAG oil. Now there's going to be some pressure in here, so I'm going to be mindful of taking these rubber inserts out. Now ideally you want to take it off on the suction side since it should suck, but I think the whole thing is filled with like some type of pressure. Let's see what happens. Typically what I'll do is spin the compressor the other way and it'll shoot out. So if I wasn't filming, I would do that. does come with O-rings. Here they are, right on the head of it. I'm going to get those changed out. They're two different sizes. They're not uniform. The liquid side is going to be the smallest side. The suction side is going to be the larger. Take that off and match it up. Do the same for the low side. Now this one does have a spacer on it, so I'm not sure if your model may come with that or not. And I need to make sure. Let's see here. That and then like that, so it's like that, so it'll probably stay elevated. So I think this one probably just doesn't come with one, and this one doesn't even come with this one doesn't even have an O-ring. Let's see if I think I found one that will match up with it in my box of seals here. And what do you know? Yep. Got a brand new one sitting around. Sticker, same. Oh yeah, it's just not, just not crushed, so this will work out just fine. Yeah, she's a little tight. Oh yeah, perfect. Perfect. I got a whole box of seals and O-rings for ACs that I do. That worked out just fine. I'm gonna throw this one right in the pile. Connector here. Cool. Alright, so alright, I'm gonna get logged in with the, oh shoot, and I hit Chrysler like a dumbass. Alright, so I'm gonna get logged in the computer. We'll go into the HVAC module, see what information we can retrieve and look at the data while I'm administering Freon to see how the system's operating. And I don't have to sit in the car, look at put any manual gauges to it, and I can just basically let the car do all the work for me. So if you notice, this Jeep is a Chrysler, which goes with a Mercedes in some cases. So if you look at some of the information here, Mercedes is just stupid complicated. Try to make it intricate, but it's just a Chrysler. So we're gonna go. All right, so if I can get this to focus. I had some focusing issues last time. All right, we're gonna go right into the body control module and find our HVAC right here. Check and see if there's any codes stored. If there isn't, you can proceed. No fault codes, cool. I do have the key on, engine off. Some vehicles you actually have to have the car running to either do any various functions or sometimes retrieve some information. Sometimes it's like that. Jeeps, it's not. So here is the PID data for the HVAC module. Sometimes if you can't access certain information, you may have to go into the PCM, because the PCM is what cycles the compressor 99.9% of the time. Let's see here. So this data right here is going to allow me just to not have to sit in the car, put a manual gauge to it, or do anything. I can look at everything through here. So I can based off of the normal criteria to operate a AC compressor. I can see all of it here, process all that information, and make an assessment from there. So the module does have 12 volts. We got battery voltage. We have the ambient air temperature here, which is the outside temperature. So in the garage, it's 87, 86 degrees. The evap sensor, that's our the voltage here. That's the initial reading that the vehicle, the module accepts and converts that to this temperature Fahrenheit here. So at 0.9 volts, we have 91 degrees. So basically the HVAC box where the heater core sit in is 91 degrees in there. So, but that bulb or that thermal unit that detects this temperature is going to sit inside the fins by the evaporator. That's for our air conditioning. All right, so our AC indicator is off. Rear defrost indicator, I don't need that. I don't need no recirculator indicator. AC switch is on, so the button is depressed. Let's see if we got pressures. Blower motor. Let's just we can pull up that. I'm not worried about that. Front temperature, potentiometer, voltage, front blower. Main left potentiometer. So I do need AC pressures, and it might not be in here. Yep, here we go. Refrigerant pressure, booyah, right there. So I'm gonna see if I can isolate these. We can look at the coolant temp sensor. Let me see here. US metric, turn on display, automatic HVAC temperature, not programmed. AC evaporator temperature. So here we go. Did I read that right? That should be the same PID. The evaporator temperature sensor and the one that we saw up here, evap temp sensor. Yeah, they're the same. I'm like, what the hell? So let's pull up all these main ones here. And EVL switch, redirect, AC selection. Let's just look at these main ones. So we're gonna focus primarily on our pressures and the evap temperature here. So this should drop to about 50 degrees. Hopefully it should drop to about 40 if everything goes absolutely correct. Now I will say on these cars here, let me do this. The low side is going to be right here by the air duct where I'm going to fill it with Freon. I do have a little bit of UV dye inside of here. Now on this car, let me see if I can find how much Freon it's going to accept. I can't find the tag where about how much Freon is supposed to accept. The car's pre-owned, so likely it's probably an accident and some things replaced, who knows. But sometimes you have to overfill this unit on the Jeeps. I've had that happen in the past where you think you're putting a lot in there, and it seemed like I had to put 2.5 pounds in it, and it doesn't even have rear AC. So there's a couple things that you may have to do that's outside the norm to get the AC to work efficiently. So it may hold 1.5 pounds on this, which is 1.5 pounds, 16 ounces plus half of that, 16, yeah, 8, about 16, 24. So it could hold 24 ounces, and it may not work. It may not be sufficient. So anyway, I digress. We'll save it for another day. But I want to put a little bit of UV dye in here. I got like 1/4 of a can left, and just to get it started. So on the pressure transducer here, the pressure switch is going to be here. It is a 3-wire sensor, which you typically have a signal, ground, and a 5-volt source, or either 12-volt, depending on how it decides to utilize the voltage. All right, let's look at our data. All right, so how much pressure I put in there? Where's that pressure sensor? Refrigerant pressure. I got 58 psi in there, so that's enough to start it up and get it to cycle. So let's do that. Our numbers should increase, and they are Sorta. AC switch is on. AC compressor. I have a cycling. You know, I shouldn't have pressed that. Gosh darn it. Evap, temperature, AC indicator, AC switch. AC clutch engagement, refrigerant pressure. I'm not going to worry about the AC requests, of course. And let's pull that up again just in case. I know I'm missing some, but we're just going to get these main ones here. So let's see here. So our AC indicator's on, AC switch is on, AC clutch request, AC clutch engagement is true. So the pressure is rising and falling. So now I'm gonna add more Freon, see if we can get that pressure up to about, come on and focus. See if I can get my pressure up to about, this car I think it needs about 200, it needs about 300 for, excuse me, for everything to start working optimally. Our evap sensor, the temp down there is starting to significantly decrease now. We start off at around 90. We're getting pretty low, so I already know just from standing out here, everything's working fine. Now, the only other thing I'm gonna be waiting on once that reach about, because I know this vehicle maxes out at 500 PSI. And if I can get the high side fans to start activating, I'll know this system is working optimally. So I'm gonna try to achieve 350. And that's just from past experience with some of the other Jeep, the Grand Cherokees and stuff. And once I know that high speed fan is working, I know for a fact that the engine is working at its best to get that temperature down. So the higher the speed, the more air we're going to have going through that condenser, the cooler our AC is going to be. So we're still on 62 degrees. And I want to make sure our lines are getting condensation on them. So that's a good indication that everything's working like they're supposed to. So the fans are a little higher, the pressure's going to drop, that's normal. Alright, I'm going to keep at this process and just give me a minute. We'll come back and look at the data. Alright, after 10 minutes, I want to say, no, less than 10 minutes. I got the time down here. Probably about 5 minutes of running. AC is working optimally in the car. Despite it saying 53 degrees up here, it feels very good on the inside of the vehicle. And also I have condensation on the lines. This system holds 18 ounces. So if a pound is 16 ounces, so just a little shy over that. I am going to take it on a test drive and see how things are working out. If it stays cool, then I'm not going to worry too much about it. But I think I got a little bit more than 18 ounces in there, about 20. and everything is still working perfectly fine. The lines are producing condensation, and you know, you have to be mindful about putting too much in here, because if there is too much, it'll cause the pressures to significantly rise once the liquid side heats up extremely hot because of external ambient temperatures being high, and it'll cause the compressor, everything to choke up, because it's not able to keep that condenser cool because of too much freon being in the system. But let's take a look at the lines. Lines here. Everything's wet like it's supposed to, just like I was mentioning. Everything's working good. The car is officially knocked out. AC works great, and we have condensation all on our suction line here. This AC is working extremely efficient. My biggest concern, I'm hoping it holds Freon, because again, when I got the car, it was showing 38 psi on the data as far as how much Freon was in the system. So I'm hoping this compressor was leaking. The compressor is locked up. I can't even move it like I showed you on the other one, the newer compressor. It's not doing anything. But we got a brand new one on there. This is the second, what was it, the AUC? I think that's the brand name I put on there. I can't remember, man. My memory's shot. But I did have to put a little bit more Freon than normal in there. I think I got it was supposed to hold about, what, 18 ounces. I got about 21 ounces in there. The pressures were high at one point, climbing to 500, but what I normally do as far as getting the pressure back down is put water on the condenser, and what that will clear some of that space to where it can fill those voids with liquid Freon. Because if you have heat, you can develop air pockets, and the air pockets is not going to allow those passages to fill up with Freon because of the excessive heat buildup. So I'll just cool it down really good with water while it's running, and it'll significantly reduce the temperatures. And when it does reduce the temperatures, it will allow itself to fill up those voids, and it'll work out to my advantage. So never had any problems doing that. So the AC works excellent now. I took it on test drive. It's not climbing to 500 psi or anything. It's just only climbing up to about 354, 350ish, something around about that. But cruising is around like 280. So everything's working optimally. But look, I got other cars I got to work on. We'll see if this holds up. If it comes back, because this car does have some other issues, such as the no communication with ABS module and occupant restraint module. So it'll be a good video to diagnose that. I don't mind doing wiring problems. And you know, these computers on this vehicle are notorious for like screwing up. But hit that link, subscribe to the channel, stay informed, have that reassurance on my work. See you next one.